Hello, fam. About a year ago, I did an episode on dating, and you guys really loved it. And I think got some good tips and tricks and put it into practice. So I wanted to do a 1 year refresh, especially as we're the last month of summer. And this is your time to maximize, you know, I would say more playful side of you. You're in better mood, spirit. Those of you traveling and meeting more international folks as well. So, wanted to come on and share some new and refreshed tips and tricks so you guys can have a fun and happy dating life. So, let's dive right in. I would say, first and foremost, is I always say this, the most important relationship is the one with yourself. So before you even go about, dating and going on dates and whatnot, if you don't really understand yourself and you don't really understand, who you are, what your triggers are, what turns you on, why it doesn't turn you on, what qualities are non-negotiable for you, you're just going to be going on a merry-go-round, going on lots of dates with different people, but it'll feel the same in terms of the interaction, or it'll feel the same in terms of the outcome because you haven't figured out who you are and haven't maybe healed some of these maybe less healthy habits. So I think it's really important for you to really figure out, what are your unhealthy attractions and why. Like if you've noticed yourself, I would always say do an audit of all the people that you've ever dated that you really felt strongly for and look at the common denominator, which are like the common things that drew you towards them, the common themes of why it didn't work out. And because, again, the biggest common denominator is you. You chose those relationships and you chose to stay in those relationships. So I think first is really figure out who you are and some of the unhealthy dating patterns that you may have. We all have them. And then so unhealthy attractions, like what are things about the person makes them attractive that actually doesn't benefit you or the relationship and are actually may not be healthy. And then secondly is what are some negative dating habits that you may have, right? Do you run away when you feel like you're falling for someone? Do you self-sabotage, right? Do you feel like, oh, like this, my dream person would never like me? Do you ever feel like good enough, right? Um, do you feel the need to like oversell yourself and then scare the person away, right? What are some negative dating habits you may have? Because you want to walk into every date, every interaction being very aware of who you are. And then you could decide, is this even who I am? And if this is a facade or a mask or a character I've been playing, I can just remove the character and decide to be who I truly authentically am. So that's the first step, really understanding yourself. And I know a lot of this work is not easy for those who are new to this, or even if you're not new to this, it may be difficult to even know the right questions to ask and the right prompts to really journal about. So obviously you should definitely work with a coach and someone that you trust who like lives and breathes in this. And I would say it's also helpful because coaches such as myself, like we spend like hundreds of hours a month just learning new modalities, diving deeper into human psychology and things that work on our clients, we apply obviously to new clients. So find a coach that resonates with you, find someone that you trust, and really start figuring out yourself and unlearning all the things that are not you and remembering who you are. That's number one. Secondly, is I'm really big on this. I want you to move and wake up and leave the house every day as if you're going to meet the love of your life. What does that mean? I want to put you to put your best A game. And your A game can be, again, different every day, but, dress the part, right? Have a beautiful attitude, be open, right? When you're waiting in line, speak to the perfect stranger. You want to wake up every day as if you're going to meet the love of your life. So if you're going to meet the love of your life today, how would you behave? How would you think? Where would you go? What your attitude would be like? That's the mindset you really want to have, because if you don't think you're going to meet the love of your life, I think you're going to, I would say, half-ass a lot of your day, and you don't want to do that. You want to put your best foot forward. So that's number one. And sorry, that's the second thing I want to highlight. And third is you're not looking for a savior because no one can save you besides yourself. You got to do the inner work. That's why I mentioned it as a first step. But you're not looking for someone to heal your wounds. You're not looking for someone that makes you look good superficially. You really want to find your life teammate. This is what the episode's about, right? So when you go on dates, if you find attraction towards someone and you want to get to know them better, the qualities, the things that you're really making sure they're a fit, this is why superficial things don't matter because no one's going to save you. Okay. Like his money is not going to save you. Her beauty is not going to save you. Okay. Her status is not going to save you. You know, it's really the chemistry between you and the person that will determine what kind of life you're going to have. And I would say I highlight this because you also have to take care of your side of the fence, right? Really know like what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Does your strengths align with his weaknesses and you're a good team and vice versa? So again, no one is perfect and we don't need to be perfect. That's so boring, right? Then we don't even need each other if we figured everything out on ourselves. But you should really be aware of who you are, what you bring to the table, what things you're not so good at so you can find the perfect teammate, but you have to save yourself. That's the most important thing to really keep in mind because a dream relationship is created by two creators, two builders, not one. You can't row a boat of a relationship by yourself. It needs two people committed and wanting it deeply in order for it to work. Okay. Yeah, so that's another thing is when you're dating, there's no such thing as like a pre-packaged perfect Barbie doll or perfect Ken or Build a Bear because the relationship will be excellent based on how you both treat it and if you're a good fit. So you can have the most perfect Ken on paper, but if this Ken does not match your strengths and weaknesses, does not match your chemistry, it doesn't matter. So look deeper into qualities about the person when you're dating versus oftentimes we all do it, look at more superficial things. Um, this is a big one. We overthink too much, I've noticed when it comes to dating. Did I say the right thing? When should I text her back? When should I ask her? Trust your intuition. If you feel like you get a ping and you want to text her, text her. If you want to like, if you haven't heard for something, like think about it, right? People are like, oh, I don't want to double text. If you haven't heard from someone from a good amount of time and you feel like you had a really good chemistry, any natural person would worry or want to follow, be like, hey, like just checking in, how are things? The person who's not mature is the one who can't even have an adult conversation to say either A, I'm not into this, or like B, I'm so sorry, I've been swamped with work. This like fell off my radar, right? Always be the person with integrity. There's no such thing as like you look like an idiot, right? The idiot is a person who does not show up with integrity. The idiot is a person who's out here, you know, breaking people's hearts. You being a good person, operating out of what like your emotions, understanding your emotions and showing that you care does not make you an idiot. So I would say stop overthinking everything and just do when it comes to dating, like do what feels really right to you. And again, I talk about doing the work because once you've done the work, you can really trust your feelings and you'll know like you when you like someone, it's not because of, you know, a past trauma or something that you haven't healed from. When you like someone, it's because you see deeper qualities in them. So you can totally trust your emotions. So stop overthinking things. Go with how you feel. Trust your intuition. This is dating. This is not work. Um, this is not going to get you to love. It's always going to be this. Right. And then the other thing is when it comes to overthinking, you're not in the moment if you're constantly thinking. And whatever evidence, whatever you want to figure out if this is going to work out or not, it's you figure this out. The evidence is right now in this moment when you're on the date with the person, when you're talking to the person, right? You projecting in the future or you looking about his or her past, like that has nothing to do with the relationship with you and him now. So any type of evidence and solution you want, it's right here. So focus on this. Stop thinking and overthinking. Um, Next one is ask better questions. Ask deeper questions. That's how you're going to get to know someone. And it's not just about who they are. It's really important to figure out why they are the way they are, right? What are their core values and why? Are there any past traumas they've been through? What was their relationship with their parents like? Why? What, like, the why is so powerful because sometimes we're so quick to like judge things and say like, oh, that's a huge red flag. But maybe if you dug a little bit deeper, he's been burned before and this is his way to protect himself. And actually he doesn't like to play it cool, but he's been burned by so many girls that he was like, oh, even though I want to text her, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to have to play it cool. So getting to the why, asking better questions when dating will really help you and it'll help you figure out sooner than later if they're going to be a good fit. Um, I personally am really big on this. I don't Google someone before I go on a date. I don't do this like hyper research on someone before I go on a date. I definitely, if they have an Instagram, I'll look at it. If they add me, I'll look at it. I don't go through every nook and cranny of it. And then I definitely do, I mentioned this before, like FaceTime someone before I meet them. So I just have a good vibe check before I even go on the date. But I think the same thing about Googling someone is like, again, when you Google someone, it's their past, what they've done, what they've accomplished. We don't even know if this stuff is true or not, right? Of course, we now know in this day and age, there's so many fake news and there's so many things that are like made up, especially now with AI, to be really, really careful with things that I trust myself and I trust my intuition that when I show up on that date, I will decide for myself whether or not this is the person I want to invest in or not from some third party website. I trust myself and how I feel with this person and me kind of asking the right questions and seeing how he answers with his body language, not just his word. I trust that. I trust myself more than I trust a third party source. That's why I don't Google. Totally understand people want to do like background checks and all that, but I feel like if you feel like you have to even do a background check on someone, maybe you shouldn't even be going on that date. And then secondly is if you just do that with everyone, I think there's just things about you when it comes to trust that you really haven't healed from and you should probably it's more of a you healing than thinking you have to run a background check on every single person before you go on a date with them, right? Um, that's my own personal opinion. And also, when you Google someone, you take away the mystery of who they are and the discovery process. And yeah, it's just not fun. Like dating should be fun. So I definitely don't do my homework on someone before I meet them, but I do come prepared with questions or things I want to discover about the person. And it's oftentimes aligned with core values. It's like, what is their ideal relationship look like? What's their ideal lifestyle? What's their integrity like? What is their money mindset? How they handle money? Obviously, money is the number one reason why people don't work out in their relationships. So I definitely don't turn my blind eye to that. I'm very upfront from the get-go and like how people think about a dollar, spend a dollar, like all that is important to me. And yeah, like lifestyle is like, where do they eventually want to live? What do they eventually want kids? Like big thing questions. I don't personally shy away from. I encourage people not to shy away from. You don't want to wait on the fifth date to figure out like this person has a completely different lifestyle goal than you. And there's always way again, it's the questions and how you ask questions that like can create an element of fun and nothing has to be so serious and like interview style. I'm really against that, but you can ask very pointed direct questions and get the answers you need without being like a militant personality through it. And then, yeah, trust your intuition, trust your pings, trust how you feel when you're on the date. Again, once you've done the work on yourself and you really know yourself, and you're like, this is my heart speaking, this is my head speaking. Okay, like I actually like this guy for the right reasons. You will know. So trust those. And I'm really big on being able to do anything with someone and have fun. That's a huge green light for me, or even sitting in silence, that's something that a lot of people always say, like, I can do anything, or I could just be in silence with this person, feel completely comfortable. So, yeah, I would say that's a big green flag. And one way that I personally describe my dream relationship is someone that feels like home and an adventure. And why that's important is because someone feels like home is you feel safe, you feel comfortable, but it's not boring, right? It's an adventure. You're still learning and growing. That's a point of relationship, right? You don't want to be staring, like sitting next to each other, staring at each other. That's not a relationship. It's you sitting next to each other and looking towards the same direction. That to me is a growth oriented relationship. That's a relationship that I want to be a part of. And not feel like you're either suffocated or bored or staying stagnant. Um, few things I want to touch on. Obviously, we're going to talk about all the good ways to think about like handling dating, how to work on yourself, but especially for those of you who are very empathetic and see the good in others, I always feel like I have to be a little bit more, my mama bear comes out and I want to be very protective of you guys because you see the good in people and I love that. But I think never ever shy away from your gut when something says this is not the right person or something doesn't feel right. So why do I say this? So common things I see people do is peacock on a date. So what is that? Like talking about their accomplishments, like kind of like borderline bragging, if not bragging about all that they've done, like a resume, like running through their resume or running through all the things that they've experienced and like, talking about their money. There's a saying, and it's so true, that generally speaking, millionaires are loud, billionaires are quiet. So someone who has the thing, someone who's really successful, I don't mean it like money makes you successful, but someone who's really secure, right? Whether it be financially, emotionally, spiritually, whatever, they don't feel the need to peacock or show themselves like overtly speak about those things because they already know they have it. They don't have to prove anything, right? So someone who's constantly peacocking and talking about how great they are with accomplishments, for me, it's a huge red flag and it's just huge sign of insecurity. And there's something wrong with that. It's just personally for me, I know I can only be with someone who's very secure and confident themselves and who's also very honest with themselves. Someone who peacocks demonstrates that they don't have any of these characteristic traits. So just be mindful of, don't really listen so much about what people are saying because people can lie, especially on dates, like anyone can lie, but watch their body language and their tone. So if someone's lying, it's very hard for them not to change their tone or body demeanor or like have a twitch from when they're not lying. So just be mindful of the peacocking, the grandiose personality. Like I'm not saying someone who does that is automatically a narcissist, but there are narcissistic traits that someone who peacocks and overgrandize themselves emulate. What they emulate someone, it's a trait that narcissists do have, but having this trait does not necessarily mean you're definitely a narcissist. Something to be mindful of. Secondly is, again, for the impacts, right? When things don't go well, like a date didn't go well, you didn't get called, well, whatever it may be, right? It is not your job to analyze and think, oh, like, why did this person treat me so poorly? Why this person didn't call me back? Like, that is not your job, okay? Your job is to show up who you are, be the most authentic, high integrity, good person you are. And your job is to find your teammate in life, okay? Someone who displays bad behavior on a date after a date, that just shows their lack of integrity, their lack of morals, their lack of standards. It has nothing to do with you. They will do the exact same thing to someone else, and to someone else, and to someone else. So someone who's very like empathetic and you care about others' feelings, we're too quick to care about everyone else's emotions before our own. Okay. You're not here to prove your worth. You don't need to. You're already worthy and you should know this. You're not here to go dissect and psychoanalyze, right? That's not your job. You're not getting paid for it. And it's a waste of your mental energy. When someone shows you bad behavior, believe them. That's who they are. Okay. And the other thing is, I think I see a lot of people get stuck on it, like, oh, like, why would they do this? I could never understand why someone would behave like this, either at a date or after a date, right? The fact that you don't understand why someone would behave so poorly just shows you that you would never behave like that and that you're a good person. And that's it. The fact that you don't understand or comprehend it is literally a blessing towards you. And we can literally stop there. We don't have to spend another second analyzing, dissecting it, right? You're not getting, unless you're like a psychotherapist and you're, I don't know, doing a documentary or something, unless you're getting paid to do it, I don't really see what the point is, because you're spending more energy focusing on something negative, than again, waking up every day, treating it as if like this is your golden opportunity to meet the love of your life. So I always say this, and I'm really big on this as well. A healthy relationship with yourself will always be better than a toxic relationship with another. So I hope this helps. I hope this gives you guys a more empowered way to walk into your dates and your dating life for a summer. Be open, be flirty, be willing to try new things, trust your intuition, but also remember what is in your side of the fence and reflection of you, and what's on the other side of the fence and reflection of other people. That is literally none of your business and not for you to dissect. So I will see you guys soon, and happy dating.